What's cracking, y'all? Welcome back to the station. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Ray G. You can find me on X at RayGQ. This is my favorite show that I do on this channel outside of Wake Up. It's the Trinity Report. We're talking opportunity, usage, route participation, all that stuff I tried to shut down when I played college football at defensive back. I love diving into the receivers. Let's stop the music, man. Stop the music. Love diving into this because that is what we're trying to do in fantasy football. We are trying to chase opportunity in usage, not past results. And that's what we're trying to do on this show. Identify maybe some players we're a little too low on, maybe some players we're not high enough on in our fantasy leagues here in 2023. So if you stick around for the entirety of the video and you find the information actionable and or entertaining, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, like the content on the channel, helps us grow. Comment below, let me know what you think about these players. But we got a lot to get into, and we are using the Fantasy Points Data Suite. This is a phenomenal tool. I have no affiliation. I'm not trying to sell anything. If you want to dive into data, matchup specific data, scheme coverage specific data, there's no better place to search for your information. This thing is powerful. It's phenomenal. We're going to dive into some of that today and talk through some of these players. So let's pull it up. Right now, let's get the website up, and I'm real little bottom right-hand corner. No need to see me, but we talk about the Trinity, and you know what it is. It's the target share. You got to be able to command the opportunity on your offense. If you are being targeted on the routes in which you are running, that is very good. We are looking for players with an opportunity to get an opportunity to score as fantasy points, and team target share helps us identify those players. Even if you didn't watch a down of football, we want the valuable yards. That's down the field. Yards per route run, AKA / air yard share. I want the player that's getting down the field, catching those valuable targets, moving and operating in places where they can create in space. And then you just want to see some other little things, right? Yak per reception. What are they doing once they get the ball? Do they fall down? Are they catch and fall? Are they able to pick up yards after the catch? I love including that into the Trinity process because it's one of the things you normally find in elite fantasy producers. Then I've added some other things. It's like my favorite filter combination here. Route participation, targets and target share, targets per route run, yards per route run, aDOT. I kind of just like looking at that. It correlates with the air yard share. Market share of the receiving yards. How much of this player's production is making up their overall team's receiving production? Design screenplays, and then their first read target share. Then, of course, the fantasy points per game. So those are the categories that I look at every single week to just try to identify some players. So looking at this right now, you see the top 12 in target share pulled up, and I've only got the top 10 sort of stamped and identified. But you see the top 12 on here, and for those of you who are watching and not watching, who are listening and not watching, here are the top 10 in target share right now. Devontae Adams, damn near 40%, unreal. Tyreek Hill, 34%. Keenan Allen, 32%. Puka Nacua right at 32%. Jacoby Myers, 31%. So you have two players from the Las Vegas Raiders, both of them top 5 in target share in the NFL after 3 weeks. Jacoby only played 2 weeks with the concussion. A.J. Brown, told you in the last episode, don't panic. He came back and did what A.J. Brown does this past week. Chris Olave at 30%. And then you got Deebo Samuel at 29.7%. We will talk about Deebo in a minute. Zay Flowers, the only rookie inside the top 10 at 29.1%. We will talk about Zay as well. And then Mike Evans, Mr. Consistent at 29%. DeAndre Hopkins and Michael Pittman Jr. round out the top 12. So now, once we've identified some of the players that we know are top 10 in gaining those targets, what you want to do is just scroll down and just take a look. Are there any names that stick out to you when you scroll down here? Oh, look at that. Elijah Moore inside the top 20, right there at 23.5%. Right there tied with Amari Cooper, neck and neck. I'm going to put a little check mark by Elijah Moore. Talked about this player sitting at number 16 in target share percentage on the last episode. That's why you got to tap in, baby. Tap in. Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown of the Arizona Cardinals right here at 16 in target share percentage, 26.8%. 16th in the NFL. That's better than Brandon Ayuk, better than Garrett Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Thomas, T. Higgins, Calvin Ridley. Scroll down just a little bit more and see if there are any other names that sort of stick out as let's star this player. You got Jaden Reed, the rookie from Green Bay, inside your top 40. Also, Tutu Atwell there at 34. Put a little check mark by Tutu to just see how he compares to his other teammates. Mike Williams at 31 at 21.3% target share. Very good for Mike Williams. We'll star him because Maybe Quentin Johnston is going to realize some of this opportunity, 71% route participation for Mike Williams. And then you see Sam Laporta, the rookie tight end, inside that top 30 with 21.4% target share. Now that we've got those identified, we found some other names. Let's go try to find some value. Let's find some players that maybe are a little under the radar you can still trade for, or some players that are scoring you points that you're not high enough on. So let's filter the next thing that I want to filter by. My gosh, I'm just looking at Jakobi Meyers and Davante Adams. My goodness. Let's filter this thing out and just look at, let's go with the yards per route run. Or let's go targets per route run. Since we did target share, let's go leaders in targets per route run and see what sticks out to us. And the first player we got to highlight is right there at number 2, Rashee Rice, the rookie wide receiver from the Kansas City Chiefs. We're seeing him right now. When we filter by targets per route run, he's number 2 in the NFL behind Tyreek Hill, in between Davante Adams and, surprise, surprise, Jakobi Meyers there at number 4, being targeted on almost half of when he's running a route. He's getting targeted, about a half of a time for Rashee Rice at 0.4. This is very interesting to see, given the fact that he's only running about 26, 27% of their team's routes, only 35 on the season, 11.9% target share. So hopefully we see this come up. But look at the yards per route run. And when I filter this out, we may see Rashee Rice's name pop up again. But we see all that blue that we had inside that top 10 is sort of scattered out now. Right now we got Keenan Allen up there. We know what he's been doing. Puka Nacua is still inside of here with targets per route run. So you want to make sure that the target share, most of these guys inside that top 10, they should also be included in here. I don't see Zay Flowers immediately, so you got to scroll down a little bit. There goes Hollywood Brown again, popping up. I'm telling y'all, Hollywood Brown, I talked about him on the last episode. This is a player where the team isn't playing awful. They're not playing terrible ball in Arizona. And I just realized I had Rashee Rice pulled up the whole damn time. I'm scrolling around. Sorry about that. But the Arizona Cardinals are not playing like the worst team in the NFL, and Hollywood Brown is seeing opportunity on that team. Here it is right here. Hollywood Brown right there at 0.3 targets per route run, 17th in the NFL. It's better than Deebo Samuel, better than Michael Pittman, better than Stephon Diggs. Not by much, but a little bit, right? And every little bit counts. Now, he's only run 74 routes to Deebo's 92 and to Stephon Diggs's 111 and Justin Jefferson's 141. So context. But the point is, when you're looking at the Arizona Cardinals and what Hollywood Brown has done, the target share, pretty solid. Targets per route run, top 20 in the NFL. This is a player that you can probably go get right now in a trade in Dynasty leagues. So let's filter this out. We got the targets. We got the target per route run. Now let's take a look at who's doing damage down the field. Yards per route run. And again, Tyreek Hill right there at the top at 5 yards per route run. Absolute banana land for a player like Tyreek Hill. This is just ridiculous. The only reason I'm showing a picture of Tyreek Hill now is because, y'all, if you have Tyreek Hill and you are even considering trading him, he's worth more than you're even valuing him at. He's worth more because his offense is scoring and producing points at a ridiculous clip right now, a historic pace, and this man is going for 2,000 yards. And as long as he doesn't get hurt, as long as Tua's healthy, I think he gets there. And I don't think it's close. He is on a different planet. The way they are scheming up Miami Dolphins with Mike McDaniel is it is fun to watch. And Tyreek Hill at the top of this chart, huge part of the reason, the reason why, along with Tua, they're doing that. But look at Brandon Ayuk right there, yards per route run. He missed a game, but he's right there at 3.66, second in the NFL. Keenan Allen, old man Keenan Allen, target share there, yards per route run there. And I see that air yard share hovering at 33%. But there goes another Mike Evans. I know he's 30 plus. People discounting him, but he's as consistent as they come. Davante Adams there, and would you look at that? Rashee Rice. Not only is the target per route run there, he's running valuable routes. And had he scored those 2 touchdowns on Sunday, people would be even more bullish on Rashee Rice. Another one of those players, I'm just like, hey, just keep an eye out on him. You see down there at number 11, a player that we've talked about quite a bit, Tank Dell. Tank Dell sitting at 11th overall in yards per route run so far on the season at 2.89, right below Chris Olave at 2.99. So Tank Dell, we referenced him and Nico Collins in the last episode. And you see Nico Collins there right below CeeDee Lamb. There goes some Puka Nacua, who we had starred. Jakobi Meyers, all right? So while he was a leader in target share, targets per route run, we see that he's not going downfield as much as Davante Adams down there at, where's Davante at? 3.29 yards per route run. So you can kind of, even without watching the game, you can identify the roles that these players have. Davante Adams stretching the field. Jakobi Meyers, more intermediate type targets. Fine, because he's still producing, because he's being targeted at such a high clip. Remember, inside the Trinity, you want those three components to be above average, right? But if one of them is not, then you better be getting a whole bunch in another bucket. If one ingredient is missing, you better have a whole bunch of the other two. And that's why Jakobi Meyers still maintains his status amongst one of the best fantasy scorers this season with that target share and with that target per route run share, although he's not getting down the field as much as Davante Adams. Mike Williams, here he is, number 20. If QJ can take over this role, there will be some opportunity for Quentin Johnston in this offense. Deebo Samuel, again, just really think that Deebo Samuel is a value. I know a lot of people are on Ayuk, and for good reason, because he's pretty damn good himself. But man, Deebo can ball, and he's healthy, and when he's healthy, we know what Deebo's going to do. And Brock Purdy is telling us what he's going to do because he's targeting him at a very high clip. Let's see who's the lowest yard per route run player that we have identified, and there it is, Zay Flowers. So, love me some Zay Flowers. I'm all about buying some Zay Flowers, but damn, they got to use them down the field more than they're doing right now. aDOT 5.1 right here. You got Marquise Brown at 10. I mean, this should be double digits, right? Deebo at 7, but he's being targeted, and he's a monster after the catch. So it's okay. But look at this, 11.8 for A.J. Brown. Even Jakobi Meyers, who's not the downfield threat, doubling up. Zay Flowers. Puka Nacua at 8.2, one of the lowest ones inside of there, outside of Keenan Allen. So this is how you use this and identify, like, okay, I recognize there are a lot of other metrics that we like here for Zay Flowers, but that aDOT's got to creep up. At 5.1, we've got to get it a little bit higher than that for Zay Flowers to really actualize that elite scoring potential, and that's why he hasn't yet, but the other metrics are there for Zay Flowers that you should be excited about. Now let's look at who's doing damage after the catch. So we got Tyreek Hill, top of this, and targets per route run, yards per route run. Let's go air yard share real quick. Let's go air yard share. Mike Evans, number 1 in the league, 51.5%. Tyreek Hill, number 2. Davante Adams at number 3 at 49.5%. Anything stick out to us here? T. Higgins. Maybe some positive regression for Z Higgins. Yards per route run, incredibly low, though. So this is a weird correlation. His yards per route run right at 1 or sub 1 at 0.99, yet he's 4th in the NFL in air yard share. Target share, not really low. Targets per route, not really high. It's 22%. That's fine. Targets per route run, 0.24, not great. aDOT, solid. I'll save my opinions on T. Higgins for another episode. Let's scroll. Marquise Brown, air yard share, top 12. Go get some Hollywood. If you can get some Hollywood, go get some doggone Hollywood Brown. This is what you want to see from a player. He's got the targets per route run, target share, air yard share is there. This is very good. Go get you some Hollywood. Go get you some Marquise Brown. Got Jakobi Meyers. There he goes right there. 16th in the NFL, top 20, ahead of Jamar Chase, DK Metcalf. The other names stick out. Allen Lazard, sure, maybe like the air yards, but yards per route run, target per route run, everything is low. This is one of the three. No, thank you. I've got little interest in you. Michael Wilson pops up a lot when you run this, but that's because he had, a 60, 70-yard play against the Dallas Cowboys. Keenan Allen. Here goes. Keenan Allen. Despite how good he is, look at the air yard share. Low. Look at all these guys in blue. Mike Williams, which is interesting, right? You think about the Chargers and Justin Herbert. You got two players, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, sub 35% air yard share. They're right there, neck and neck. Look at the two Rams guys, Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell at 33 and 34 with 31.3% for Puka air yard share. And then Tutu Atwell sitting there at, where's it at? 31.9%. So those guys right there. And then Deebo Samuel, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Nico Collins in that subset as well. So, air yard share, yards per route run, there's some correlation there, but you need to be getting down the field. So if you can't do those things, let's take a look at yak per reception And who's doing damage after the catch with the ball in their hands? And yes, Deebo Samuel, number 3. Jalen Waddle played 2 games. He's number 2, almost 11 yards after the catch per reception. George Pickens, long catch in that game. But he's run a lot of routes. 21% target share. It's starting to creep up. Air yard share, 33%. 9 yards per route run for George Pickens. A yak after deception for George Pickens. I like that. Michael Wilson, like it too. But again, a lot of that came by way of, he's only got 10 targets on the year. A lot of that came in that one game and that one play versus the Dallas Cowboys. But you see how this thins out with the yak after the catch per reception. A lot of this yak quarterback stat, long plays. It's early in the season, so I'm not really using a lot of that right now because it's a lot of big plays. Like Garrett Wilson's there at 7.08, but how much of that ties into that 68-yarder versus the Dallas Cowboys? So you start going down to the players who have caught a lot of passes or at least been targeted quite a bit. And I start looking at it around here. The Mike Williams at 5.79, and we know he's out. Chris Olave at 5.5. A.J. Brown at 5. Keenan Allen over Tyreek Hill. Like, it's crazy because you see how many big plays Tyreek Hill has, but he's never like number 1 in the league in yards after the catch per reception. It feels like he should be, but Zay Flowers right there around that Tyreek Hill mold, little ahead of Jamar Chase. We know he had a couple of down weeks. Puka Nacua way down there at 53rd in the NFL, 4.17 yards after the catch per reception for Puka Nacua. And is there any other players that we've got highlighted? Finally, Elijah Moore pops back up at 3.4, and then Tutu Atwell. And I like what Tutu Atwell is giving the Rams right now, and I think he's a player that even when Cooper Kupp comes back, should still be involved in the offense. But he is the clear one for me that once Kupp is back, if Cooper Kupp comes back, it's going to be Tutu Atwell that sort of suffers whenever Cooper Kupp comes back, as long as Puka Nacua keeps doing his thing. So let's finish this thing out and looking at a couple of other metrics over here on the data suite that I really, really like to look at, and it's design screen percentage right here. So we're just trying to see percentage of targets from design plays such as screen passes and who's being screened open in the NFL. And good Lord, Zay Flowers, numero uno in the NFL with the qualifiers that we have put on this example subset. 40% tied with Rondale Moore. And I love me some Rondale Moore, but that ain't the category you want to be in. He's got almost double the routes as Rondale Moore, double the targets, double the target share. Not worried about them in regards to them as players or as potential fantasy scorers. But a lot of Zay Flowers' production right now is on a low aDOT, getting the ball out of Lamar Jackson's hands quickly, screen plays, things of that nature. Sorry, with Tutu on there. But you see Zay Flowers right there at 40% at the doggone top. So when you're looking at the players that are being designed, schemed open, and some other players inside of this subset, you got Evan Ingram, Juju Smith-Schuster, Devontae Parker, and it's just very clear to see what some of these teams are trying to do and the limitations of their quarterbacks by some of these players in the offenses that are inside of this, right? You got 3 New England Patriots inside the top 7 at their targets being designed off of screens. Christian Kirk, 22% of his are designed off of screens. Deebo Samuel, 22%, which I'm fine with that because when we filter those design screens by yak per reception and Deebo sitting at number 3, this lets me know that even though he's being schemed, these type of touches he's producing on the volume. So he's being schemed screens, design percentage of screens. He's producing when he gets the ball, yak per reception. Okay, but then he's also top 10 in the NFL in target share. He's also right there in, where's he at? Targets per route run. There he is, top 20 in targets per route run. So although Deebo's being schemed open, doesn't matter because he's producing. Now, Mike Williams doing a lot of screen plays. Maybe that's Quentin Johnston time. Maybe that's a little QJ in there. Keenan Allen, there he is, 12.8% of his designed on screens. Olave, 9.4. Jacoby. These guys, the lower you go, like Devontae Adams, you don't even have to do that because he can just win on the outside regardless. Tyreek Hill, 5% of his targets are coming off of design plays like screens. He can just get it without all of that. Mike Evans, there goes Puka Nacua down there with A.J. Brown. They are running real routes with these players. Look at 121 freaking routes for Puka Nacua. Now let's filter by first read target percentage. When the quarterback drops back, who is he targeting? Numero uno, and Devontae Adams, 57%. I'm going to you. And he's executing. Garrett Wilson is 2. However, if we start filtering by catchable targets, I guarantee that drops way, way down. But at the top of this list, I mean, just Devontae Adams is just a different animal. He's a different type of player, different animal. Puka Nacua is still there, number 4 overall. Tyreek Hill, 6th in the NFL. Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, and Zay Flowers. So you can kind of use this to identify some players. Like Michael Pittman keeps flashing. Every time we filter these results out, Michael Pittman constantly flashing. This is a player, 36% of his team's quarterback's first read target share is going to Michael Pittman. He's got an almost 30% target share. He's got almost a 0.3 target per route run. Yards per route run, not so high at 1.9, but he's getting the targets and he's accounting for 34% of his team's receiving yards. This is how I do this every single week to find and identify some value in players that we're not thinking enough about. Hollywood Brown popping up again, 18th overall. When Josh Dobbs throws it, it's probably going to Marquise Brown. Scroll down this list. The very first episode, I talked about Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen, as bad as that situation is, shouldn't be on waivers. He is being looked at numero uno in that offense, albeit a lot of it with Andy Dalton, before anybody else. Calvin Ridley down there a little bit, the 35th, 34th overall. CeeDee Lamb, 37th. So this is how I utilize this tool. This is how I try to identify some players to get out on and some players that if you have them, do not sell for cheap. Do not move off of them just because they're old and you don't like the name. Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen need to be valued quite highly right now. Jacoby Myers, another one. Even though Zay Flowers isn't operating down the field right now, high premium value on a player like Zay Flowers. Now, let me just for fun, since we have a little time, and I think the next Trinity show will dive into some underperformers, but let's type in Drake London and just take a look at what's happening based on everything that we've been talking about over the past couple of weeks. You look at this chart and look at this. It's funny. It's London and Burks on the screen at the same time. Both of them are running a decent amount of routes, but look at the target share. Burks, 15.7%. Drake London, 17%. Targets per route run, 0.1. I mean, we're complaining about 0.3, 0.2, 0.16 for Drake London, 0.18 for Treylon Burks. Yards per route run for Drake London, 1. Treylon Burks, 1.3. Air yard share, London, sub 24%. Burks, right at 30%. This is first read target share for Burks, 16%. We're talking some of these players, 50, 40, 30%. Talking about 16.5% for Treylon Burks and 23% for Drake London. Wow, I love these two second-year players. Their situations and their quarterback is going to significantly impact and limit them and their fantasy production and upside moving forward. And all of those things have to be present. Even though Garrett Wilson is being targeted on the first read at the second highest clip in the NFL, look at his fantasy points per game, 13.5. They're not quality targets. You want to have the three things, those three ingredients. And when you do that, and I'm just looking at target share right now, 25 points, 30, 30, 21, 22. A.J. Brown, low man, right? We had a couple of low weeks, no touchdowns, 14.6. If they would have gave him one, that's higher. Olave, 17, 19 for Deebo, 13.8 for Zay Flowers, and then 21.6 fantasy points per game for Mike Evans. Michael Pittman Jr., 18%, 18 points per game. This is, again, even when I look at this, y'all, and I'm looking at Amon-Ra, as much as we love him, what is keeping Amon-Ra St. Brown out of that elite category? You need a little more. You need a little more, Amon-Ra. We need a little more. You know, the target share, if that can creep up, and he's being targeted at a high clip, but he needs all of it. Laporte is pulling some away. Josh Reynolds is pulling some away. And then when you look at a player like Amon-Ra, let's go to his targets per route run should be high for Amon-Ra. He's 12th in the NFL. Yards per route run was over 3, which is good. Air yard share, this is where they talked about getting him downfield more. We would like to see that down here in between. He's in Puka Nacua, Tutu, Atwell territory, and this was my fear with Amon-Ra going into the season. And then yak per reception, not bad for him, right? Like, I'm not 4 point something's nothing to sneeze at, but it's, you look for him. Here he is, 57th. That's behind Dalton Kincaid, Jerry Jeudy, T. Higgins, Devontae Parker, Curtis Samuel, Josh Reynolds. this is the problem. He's not a big yak guy, and he's not a big down the field guy. So he's great, but I'm just telling you what the data is teaching us. So that's the Trinity report for this week. I love diving into this data, and I hope you appreciate it and found the tool and going through the exercise fun and informational, and a way for you to jump on here and kind of filter through those things and find and identify those players that you may be able to target that are going to help you win fantasy championships this year and in the long term. So if you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button, like the content, subscribe to the channel, comment below, let me know what you think about these players. And until next time, man, if you want anything from us, go to destinationdebbie.com. Check out all the content over there. We got written articles. We've got dope tools. But I appreciate y'all tapping in, and I'll see y'all next week. Y'all be easy. I'm out. Peace.